All right, guys, I'm actually a little nervous with this one because we're going to be doing something very, very special with this series. It's going to be called Legends Refitted. And as I was making the Shades of Dominion, it's of course based off the very popular card game. And the way that I had to do this is I had to find an easy, dirty way for Shade Masters to be able to uh, fit in the cards of this popular card game into their game. And I had to do it in a way that would be comprehensive, quick, easy, so that they can have the template and just show up with the card and have the stats ready based on what's on the card. That's what the Shades of Dominion can do for Shade Masters who are interested in throwing in the old cards that they love, that they want to use in the game. And so I came up with the Law of Common and a way to stat out basic creature cards so that you have a stat line for these cards. So what I'm doing in this series is we're taking a set of cards that are in terms of Magic the Gathering, they are crap cards. And the reason that they are well, crap is because of the way that they were made. And they were actually made, as we read here, the Legends set was designed by Steve Conan and Robin Herbert in Vancouver after they were introduced to an earlier version of Magic by the creator Richard Garfield at the University of Pennsylvania. They quickly became addicted and they became fans and started making their own cards for fun on their own time, based on the epic fantasy that both of them enjoyed. Now, it turns out that that epic fantasy was none other than Dungeons and Dragons, another role playing game. And that's very relevant, and getting into this makes me very excited. Many of the ideas for Legends came from the notes taken by Conrad on Wizard's Christmas recreational outing to Mount Rainier. No, I'm sorry, Rainier, however you pronounce that. One of those ideas was to create a more unique, heroic kind of creature that would have a sense of depth and strength. And this led to the creation of legendary creatures as well as other mythical sounding creatures, such as Hell's Caretaker and Evil Eye of Orms by Gore. Many of the ideas used for legendary creatures came from the Dungeons and Dragons campaigns enjoyed by those involved. And that's really the crux behind it. These were cards that were made based off of characters and NPCs that these fans were playing on their tabletops. And so, as the Shade Master, as the creator of this new Magic the Gathering roleplay game, I wanted to see how I could honor these legendary cards. Now, these were the first massively produced rare sets of Magic the Gathering cards ever. And one of the unfortunate side effects of this is that they suck. Because of power creep, because of the way in which these cards were made, as we read down below, we're going to read exactly how things went awry. The idea behind world enchantments was that their magic were so powerful they transported the battle to another plane altogether. Now, in the Shades of Dominion, your global enchantments are your character aspects. These are things that your character carries on you by contrast. Also, the set originally contained 6 cycles of cards based on the game of chess, each color having a similar card for each of the 6 chess pieces, although these cards did not ultimately make it into the set. Now, the expansion was originally named The Legend Continues in order to pay homage to the original game, but it was shortened to just Legends. Now, originally, Garfield believed it was alright for the larger expansions to optimally use common cards from the original Alpha set. The Ice Age expansion, which included Alpha's commons, were originally to be released after Antiquities. But basically, the fans said, no, we want new common cards. We don't want reprints already, since the game was already so young. And what's really important is this part right here. They were having issues with understanding what each card meant. And it said that as the language found on cards was not yet standardized, it was sometimes difficult to understand what the cards were intended to do. After a face-to-face meeting with the design and development teams, however, many cards' intentions were clarified. There was little concern over casting costs, which is why refitting these cards into the Shades of Dominion is so advantageous and it's so wonderful. So when an effect was too powerful or in the wrong color, instead its casting cost was increased. And you will see that as we go through these old legendaries, which are due to power creep and the nature of how card games kind of escalate in terms of power and whatnot. Um, what happens is, let me get that down. What happens is the cards that are printed earlier become far less usable. This is again the notion of power creep. And so when we go through Legends Refitted, we'll be taking some of the legendary cards that were made way back in the day, that were inspired by the original creators' Dungeons & Dragons characters, their NPCs, some of the mythical creatures that they associate with in their campaigns. And we're going to be able to recreate these cards that have really lost their play value. And I'm going to show how we, in the Shades of Dominion, through this conversion process, we'll be able to give some of these old cards a lot more of their dignity back. They're going to be able to be used in play, and they are going to be far more threatening, uh, far more useful, and far more story-driven, and capable of being used in Shades of Dominion campaigns. As opposed to in Magic the Gathering, these cards have by contrast been simply lost to history. And that's what we're doing. We're going back into the lore and we're retaking some of the old Magic history. And we're going to be able to give honor to some of these cards. And I'm going to show you how they translate back into the Shades of Dominion. And you will be able to use these NPC stat blocks in your games as Shade Masters yourself, as a homage to the original Magic the Gathering lore. And I'm excited to do this. So the first video will be up on Monday, and I hope to see you there. This is going to be a very special series, and I would like everyone to like and share this content, because we need more of it. We need more Magic the Gathering players who are actually in tune with the lore of the game and how it was built, what it was intended to be, because we deserve better. And that's what the Shades of Dominion is here to offer. That's it, guys. God bless, and go throw some shade.